Imagine two young men living in a luxurious Beverly Hills mansion, seemingly perfect lives, until one night, their parents are found brutally murdered. What followed was a tale of greed, secrets, and shocking confessions that gripped the world. This is the story of the Menéndez brothers, a case that remains one of the most infamous family tragedies in American history. Stay with us, because the truth is more twisted than you can imagine. To outsiders, José and Kitty Menéndez had it all: wealth, power, and a beautiful home in Beverly Hills. Their sons, Lyle and Erik, were seen as privileged young men with bright futures. But behind the closed doors of their mansion, the reality was far darker. It was a quiet August night in 1989 when the unthinkable happened. Police arrived at the Menéndez home to find José and Kitty shot to death in their living room. Kitty's body was riddled with bullet wounds, and José had been shot execution style. The gruesome scene was something out of a horror movie. The murder shocked the wealthy Beverly Hills community. Who would commit such a brutal act? The initial assumption was a mob hit. José's business dealings had made him a powerful and controversial figure. But as the investigation unfolded, cracks in the brothers' story began to appear. After the murders, Lyle and Erik began spending lavishly, buying luxury cars, designer clothes, and even a restaurant. Their extravagant spending raised eyebrows and painted a picture of guilt that no amount of denial could erase. Then came the discovery that José's will had been recently deleted from his computer. Investigators found evidence pointing to the brothers hiring a computer expert to erase it. The motive became clear: greed and a desire to inherit their father's multi-million-dollar estate. The case took a dramatic turn when Erik, racked with guilt, confessed to the murders during a therapy session with his psychologist. That confession, overheard by the psychologist's mistress, ultimately led to the brothers' arrest. In March 1990, Lyle and Erik Menéndez were arrested and charged with the murders of their parents. Their mugshots plastered the news, and the world watched in disbelief as the once privileged brothers faced justice. The Menéndez brothers' trial was nothing short of a media circus. Cameras captured every moment as the defense painted a shocking picture of abuse and desperation, while the prosecution argued cold-blooded greed. Lyle and Erik claimed they had endured years of sexual, emotional, and physical abuse at the hands of their father. They described their mother as complicit, turning a blind eye to their suffering. It was a narrative that stunned and divided the public. The prosecution dismissed the abuse allegations as fabricated, arguing that the murders were premeditated. They pointed to the brothers' spending spree as proof of their true motive: hatred and greed fueled by being disinherited. The brothers' testimony was graphic and emotional. They described in vivid detail the abuse they claimed to have endured. Their tears and trembling voices captivated the courtroom and left jurors visibly shaken. Outside the courtroom, the public was split. Were Lyle and Erik victims of horrific abuse, or were they calculating killers who exploited their parents' deaths for financial gain? The debate raged in living rooms and on talk shows across the country. After months of testimony, the jury was unable to reach a verdict. The first trial ended in a mistrial, leaving the public hungry for answers and the brothers facing another fight for their lives. In the second trial, the prosecution came out swinging, determined to dismantle the brothers' abuse narrative. Cameras were banned this time, but the intensity of the courtroom drama remained. In 1996, Lyle and Erik were convicted of first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder. The verdict was unanimous. The brothers were sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Today, Lyle and Erik serve their sentences at the Richard J. Donovan Correctional Facility. Though separated for years, they were eventually reunited and now live in the same prison, a small comfort in their otherwise grim reality. The Menéndez case became a media sensation, with every detail of the brothers' lives dissected and dramatized. From documentaries to TV movies, the case remains one of the most infamous in American history. To this day, the question of whether the brothers were abused remains contentious. Supporters believe their claims, pointing to their emotional testimony. Skeptics argue it was a desperate attempt to avoid the death penalty. In October 2024, the Los Angeles District Attorney recommended resentencing for the brothers after reviewing their habeas corpus petition. Could this be a chance for a reduced sentence, or just another chapter in their controversial story? Beverly Hills, with its glamorous mansions and celebrity residents, became the backdrop for a crime that shattered its image of perfection. The Menéndez murders revealed the darkness that can lurk behind wealth and privilege. José Menéndez was known as a demanding father, and Kitty struggled with mental health issues. The family's dynamic was one of pressure, dysfunction, and, ultimately, tragedy. Lyle and Erik weren't just brothers, they were co-conspirators, united by their actions and their shared trauma. Their bond became both their strength and their undoing. José's will was key evidence in the case. The fact that it was erased just days before the murders raised serious questions about the brothers' intentions and their claims of innocence. Ballistics and forensic evidence played a critical role in the trial, painting a chilling picture of the night of the murders. The evidence told a story of premeditation that the brothers couldn't escape. Why does the Menéndez case continue to captivate us? Perhaps it's the contrast between their privilege and their crime, or the unanswered questions about their motives and their claims. From behind bars, the brothers have written letters to supporters, maintaining their claims of abuse and expressing remorse. Their words offer a glimpse into their lives after one horrific decision. The brothers' defense attorneys faced intense scrutiny, navigating a case that was as emotionally charged as it was legally complex. Their arguments shaped the narrative that still divides us today. The Menéndez case has inspired countless documentaries, books, and even parodies. But behind this sensationalism lies a tragedy that destroyed a family and shocked the nation. Now in their 50s, Lyle and Erik live out their days in prison, reflecting on the crime that defined their lives. They remain controversial figures, both reviled and sympathized with. Could the brothers ever be released? The resentencing request has reignited the debate over their guilt, their motives, and whether justice was truly served. The Menéndez case is a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked ambition, the complexities of family dynamics, and the devastating consequences of violence. José and Kitty's extended family mourns their loss to this day, grappling with the unimaginable reality of losing loved ones at the hands of their own children. The Menéndez case isn't just about a crime, it's about the questions it raises. Why do people commit such acts? And how do we, as a society, respond to tragedy? The Menéndez brothers' story is one of privilege, pain, and consequences that can never be undone. What do you think? Were they victims or villains? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that dive into the darkest chapters of history.